Hi guys, and welcome to Pi Math. In today's video, we're going to be proving these four formulas. Alright, so we're going to prove all these four. So first, we'll prove this one. We'll start out with this one. Alright, so let's just consider 18 as theta. Let me use a different pen. Alright, let me just consider 18 as theta. That means 5 theta is equal to 90. And that means 2 theta plus 3 theta is equal to 90, right? So this would also mean that 2 theta is equal to 90 minus 3 theta, right? And since we know that both of these are equal, that means sine 2 theta is equal to sine 90 minus 3 theta. Alright, and sine 90 minus 3 theta is cos 3 theta. Right? So sine 2 theta is equal to cos 3 theta. So I'll just move this up to the top and use a different color pen. So we can write sine theta as 2 sine theta cos theta. We can write 2 sine 2 theta as this, and that equals to 4 cos cube theta minus 3 cos theta. Alright, so this equals this, and this equals this. These are just some preset formulas that I'm already using, that I'm gonna use. Alright, so if we all shift this to one side, we get 4 cos cube theta minus 3 cos theta minus 2 sine theta cos theta equals 0. Alright? And if we just simplify all the causes out of these three, if we just take all the causes out of these three, we get cos theta multiplied by 4 cos squared theta minus 3 minus 2 sine theta equals to 0. And we can just move cos to the bottom here, to the denominator over there, and that'll still equal 0. So we can write 4 1 minus sine squared theta minus 3 minus 2 sine theta equals 0. Now, the reason I've done that is to just make it all in terms of sine theta instead of having one cos theta and one sine theta. Right? I just want it to all be sine theta. But other than that, all I've done is taken this cos and moved it to the denominator on the other side. So that the other side still equals 0, because 0 over anything is 0. Alright, so when I simplify this, I get 4 minus 4 sine square theta minus 3 minus 2 sine theta equals 0. And if I just rearrange that, I get minus 4 sine squared theta minus 2 sine theta plus 1 equals 0. Now what I want to do is I want to multiply everything on this side by -1. This is to make the leading coefficient positive, and it just looks nicer. So 4 sine squared theta plus 2 sine theta minus 1 equals 0. Alright? And now what we're going to do is we want to solve for sine theta, right? Sine theta. And what we can do to solve for that is, you may have noticed that this is a quadratic. If we wrote it like, let me just change the color. We wrote it like 4x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0. What would you do to solve it? You would put it in the quadratic formula, right? It's to get the roots. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put it into the quadratic formula to get the roots. Alright? So the quadratic formula, as we know, is minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Alright? So what I can do is I can take 4 as a, 2 as b, and negative 1 as c, just like you would with a quadratic equation. So now what we can do is I can write minus 2 plus or minus square root of 2 squared minus 4 multiplied by 4 multiplied by minus 1 divided by 2 times 4. And this all equals 0, of course, but that's more of a unspoken thing. We're just gonna write it as is, as an expression. Alright, so we can simplify this into minus 2 plus or minus square root of 4 plus 16. This becomes positive because the negatives make a positive, and this is all divided by 8. And we can simplify this into negative 2 plus or minus square root of 20 divided by 8. Alright? Now let me just do something over here. You may have noticed that square root of 20 is also square root of 4 multiplied by square root of 5. This can be simplified into 2 root 5. So let's just write square root of 20 in our thing as 2 root 5. And now you may notice that we can simplify out the 2's in the numerator and the denominator. So if we take out the 2's, we get and that simplifies to alright, so this is what we're left with. Alright, so let's just do another thing. We know that root 5 is greater than 1, right? We also know that sine 18 has to be positive because it's in the first quadrant. As you know, the unit circle, all silver teacups, this is where everything has to be positive, sine has to be positive, tan has to be positive, and cos has to be positive, right? So 18 falls in this quadrant, quadrant number 1, where everything has to be positive, right? So this has to be positive, right? And we know that root 5 is greater than 1. So that means that if this is a plus, if this is a plus, then it will be positive, right? But if the operator is negative, it will be negative, right? We know that it can't be negative, it has to be positive. So therefore, we can deduce that this has to be, let me just move it over here. This has to be 1 plus root 5 divided by 4. So this is the root that's going to get us sine theta, right? So we know that sine theta, sine 18 is equal to this, because theta is 18, according to all our conditions, right? So that means sine 18 is this. And that is exactly what is here. Also, this is cos 72 because sine theta is equal to cos 90 minus theta, right? We all know that, right? So cos 90 minus 18 is cos 72. So sine 18 is equal to this, which is also equal to cos 72. All right? So let me just get rid of all this. We'll move on to the next one. And I'll just erase the rest. So we'll move on to cos 18. So cos 18, all right? So we know that we're going to use a simple formula to solve this, which is cos squared theta equals 1 minus sine squared theta. All right, so we know that this is true, so we can just say theta equals 18. So cos squared 18 is equal to 1 minus sine squared 18, or 1 minus root 5 minus 1 over 4 squared. So cos squared 18 equals this. All right? So we can simplify this. We can square this and then say that this is 1 minus 5 minus 2 root 5 plus 1 over 16. Now I've squared the numerator and denominator. I can simplify this even further by getting the 1 in the fraction. So it would be 16 minus 5 plus 2 root 5 minus 1. Now the reason I flipped the signs is because you have to distribute the negative throughout the equation, right? So cos squared 18 is equal to 10 plus 2 root 5 divided by 16. Alright, so now what we can do is we can just square the numerator and denominator. So notice that this is cos squared 18, not just cos 18. So we have to get cos 18, so we have to take the square root of this side. But to do that, we also have to take the square root of this side, right? So we can say that cos 18 is equal to square root 10 plus 2 root 5 divided by square root of 16. And we can simplify that into cos 18 equals square root 10 plus 2 root 5 divided by 4. And as you can see, this is the same as this, right? So thus, it's proven, it's true. All right? So let me just erase all this. Now we'll move on to this one, sine 36. All right, So we know that if we consider theta as 18, we know that sine 2 theta equals 2 sine theta cos theta, right? So sine 36, because 18 times 2 is 36, is equal to 2 sine 18 cos 18. Alright? So we can simplify this into 2 multiplied by root 5 minus 1 over 4 square root of 10 plus 2 root 5 divided by 4. Right? Because I've just substituted in sine 18 and cos 18 into the thing, right? So now what we'll do is we'll just try to simplify this as best as we can. So we can cross these two out, and we can say that sine 36 equals this. Alright, let me just move it up here. And now we can simplify it by multiplying. So we can say that sine 36 is equal to root 50 plus 10 root 5 minus 10 minus 2 root 5. Now what I've done is, we know that 1 is the same as square root 1, right? So what I've done is, this is the same as square root 5 minus 1. And if both are in the radical, if both things that you're multiplying are in the radical, in this case it is, because kind of just extending the radical there, you can just ignore the radical and just use distributive property as normal. Right, so that's really what I've done. So let's continue. Sine 36, hold on, I forgot to write over 8. And we can simplify this into square root 40 plus 8 root 5 divided by 8. And if we just take root 4 out of all this, let's just do it over here. So right, so if we just take root 4 out of all this, we get 2 10 plus 2 root 5. Yeah, so we can just say that sine 36 is equal to 2 10 plus 2 root 5 divided by 8. And thus, and you can't cross these out, sine 36 is equal to 10 plus 2 root 5 divided by 4. And as you can see, this the same thing as this. So thus it's proved. And again, it equals to cos 54. Alright, so I'll just get rid of all this. So finally, let's move on to this. Okay. So let me find a pen. Okay. So we know that cos 2 theta is equal to 1 minus 2 sine squared theta, right? So if you consider theta as 18, then cos 36 is equal to 1 minus 2 sine squared 18. And you can write this as 1 minus 2 You can write this as 1 minus 2 root 5 minus 1 over 4 squared. And when you square that, you got 1 minus 2 So cos 36 equals to 1 minus 2 5 minus 2 root 5 plus 1 over 16. Now, if you're wondering why or how I got this from this, all I've done is taken root 5 minus 1 squared, and I've just squared it. So you should know the a minus b whole squared formula, which is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. That's all I've done over here, if you really look at it. So for those of you wondering, that's what I've done. So we can simplify this into cos 36 equals to 1 minus 2 6 minus 2 root 5 divided by 16. And when we distribute 2 into the numerator, we get cos 36 equals 1 minus 12 minus 4 root 5 by 16. I forgot this. I wrote this wrong and I said this wrong, but it's 12 plus 4 root 5 because the negative gets distributed, right? So if you distribute the 1 in, you get, let me use a different pen. Right? So, and when you just simplify this, I mean, if you're wondering how I got from here to here, this is 16 over 16. So 16 minus 12 plus 4 root 5, that's 4 plus 4 root 5. I've just skipped a few steps. So if you take the 4 out of the numerator and denominator, we're left with cos 36 is equal to 1 plus root 5 divided by 4. Alright? So now we can see that this is the same as this, and so thus it's proved. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe, because it really helps the channel a lot, and see you next time.